All right, thanks. Appreciate the patience. We've got some bugs to work out, and it's a little bigger than so it's a small church. You got to give us a break, but we're doing what we can. Um, anyway, thanks for coming. This is really neat. It's going to be a lot of fun. Um, there's a few goals. We'll get to those, and I'm going to start with a big caveat that this is not endorsed by the church. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is any problems with what I say. If it's weird, you don't like it, that's okay. Just complain to the pastor. And then it'll be like, I don't know what he said. So anyway, we're going to look at things a little different than maybe anybody here maybe has seen stuff before. And I want to take you on a journey. And that's the goal. But anyway, we'll get to that. First, we have to start with prayer. So bow your heads with me real quick. Heavenly Father, thank you for today. We come knocking at the door for knowledge. We want to learn about the potter, and this is the clay, and we humbly beseech your wisdom that we can find out of it what you want us to learn. We thank you for your guidance. We thank you for the Holy Spirit as it moves. And we pray that our hearts are open. In your Son's name, amen. So this is going to work in a few different ways. This is not a chronological view of Genesis. If you want that, you can grab your Bible and flip through it, and it'll tell you every story in line. We'll talk about the in-line stuff, but we're not walking through it like that. What we're doing is a little different, and it works kind of, I don't know how to put it. It worked for me. And the way that I found this and the way that I'm going to teach this stuff has been since I was 16. Somebody told me that was high up in a church leadership that they couldn't tell me what they were discussing with another leader because it would, quote, destroy my faith. And at 16, I thought, destroy my faith? What does that mean? They're like, oh, it's the first part of Genesis. And they never told me. And I thought, well, I'll figure it out. And so I spent, 17, how long ago is that? Mathis. Sure, 43. Okay, 26, 27 years. But about 7 to 8 years ago, some things clicked. And it really made a difference. If you have a hard time hearing me, let me know. I can scoot up or talk louder. It really made a difference. And so my goal is to walk you through some of those steps. And maybe you can follow along with me. I mean, I'm sure you can. But maybe you see things the way that I see them now, which really changed because I went through this big theological understanding. I still have it, but it changed. And it's really pretty neat. And anyway, I couldn't be here last week for the final kingdom principles, which this will relate to, which Brother Austin taught. I listened to the third one. If you haven't listened to them, they're incredible on YouTube. It's on the app. You can go listen to them. It couldn't be here actually because most of you know we have two kids, Eli, who I don't think has ever been in trouble, and then George, who likes to live in it more than out of it. And he didn't eat a tomato, half of a cherry tomato that he said he wanted for 6.5 hours. I'm going to let that rest for a minute. 6.5 hours. But there are principles here like you let your yes be yes and your no be no. If we don't grab that then, obviously most people here are parents, they know you're going to pay for it later. So anyway, I'm sorry about that. You know, when he was a kid, this is George, the little one, he was running through the house. It says, so crazy. We have these old wood floors. They're beautiful. And he gets a splinter and a bad one. And this is new to him. And so what does he do at 3 years old? Panics. Screaming bloody murder. My father, our neighbor, could probably hear him. And it's, oh, buddy, we're gonna pull the splinter out real quick. It's just a little bit, you pull out the tweezers and you have this 3-year-old who's never seen tweezers, but somehow automatically knows that this is an instrument of death and torture. And he just panics like you can't believe and screaming, Daddy, no, don't do it, Daddy. Like Ouch, Daddy, right, buddy? It's temporary pain for everlasting peace, right? And that's cute. But what if somebody's walking by the house and they hear that? And all they hear is, no, Daddy, no. Please stop. It hurts. Now they run in there to save that child. Can anybody here blame them? No. No. And that's sometimes the way we look at the Bible, is we just see it through this small lens. And we go, oh no, I'm going to save that child. I know what that means. Well, guess what? We worship a potter who created all of this, everything around us. And what we're going to do in this class is look at the clay. Because if you want to know the potter, you better learn the clay. And this is the clay. Okay. So as we go on this journey, you're going to learn, I hope you learn, or see, that I see, that all of this is broken. Everything around us is broken. Now we have things that we call good, and we'll get back to the we call good, but that we call good. We look at a sunset and we say, oh, it's beautiful. I see a broken world. And that'll mean more in a little bit, but I see a really broken world. And I think deep down we all long to know what it was like before this world was broken. When we still had a garden that was filled with God, when we still had no need for anything, no need for it. It's just, if you want to eat, you eat. And you think, well, that'd be terrible. Like, what's the goal? No, no, no. We're going to see that the end goal of that, it's not even our goal. It's our Creator's goal. That the end goal of that is rest. It's Noah. It's rest. And we'll get back to rest. This world will be there, whether we want it or not, is going to go through a transition of some magnitude at some point. And I'm not an eschatological guy. I can't tell you all. I can tell you some of the paths. I can't tell you what I believe. I don't know. But it's coming at some point. Some people think it's here. Some people think it's 30 miles away. Some people think it's, in 3 years. Some people think it's already started. I have no clue. It doesn't matter. But we will go back. So anyway, I want to look at where we kind of came from. And to do that, we're going to examine this book called Genesis. Okay, so in this journey, you have to bear with me because I'm filled with bad jokes. We're going to have like a little sci-fi thing. Just kind of pretend for a minute. It's year 20 or 3214. It's Moon Day, Saturn the 23rd. Does this make sense? We're in the future. Right? This is a ways off. That's what? How many years? Math.
1,000 plus.
How many years? 1,200. There we go. I like it. 1,200. By the way, Miss Katie is our look up, go to corrector. If I say a wrong name, she's like, hey, no, it's da-da-da-da. Mather, all of that stuff. My mother is going to help with, what's that word? English. What's the etymology? She's going to be our etymologist if we need it real quick. She's pretty good at looking up that stuff. So I might call, phone a friend, because I'm going to mess up, right? It's a lot of info. So you got to bear with me. Anyway, we're way in the future. We're going to pretend we like sci-fi, because I don't. And an ancient scroll was found preserved in ash, way in the future. And the GNO, the government news organization, because it'll probably be communist, realizes or releases the following statement: the ancient scroll has been deciphered. The catastrophe of our ancient world is horrific. Carcasses were descending from the heavens, which led to a massive population decrease. We will prepare for the same. It's not going to happen to us. But I have a picture of that ancient scroll. Be safe. It's raining cats and dogs. XOXO. And that's the ancient scroll they saw and panicked, going, there must have been dead carcasses falling from the sky. You couldn't get anywhere. It was probably crushing people to death. It was raining animals. Welcome to the Bible. It's filled with idioms. Now, not everything's an idiom. There's a lot of them, and sometimes we look past them, and we're going to start with one in Genesis that is going to kind of catch us a little bit off guard, and then we'll talk about some others and have some fun with them. But keep this in mind as we go through this book. And right now, you're probably going, okay, this is going to be a theological kind of view. We're going to look at the poetry of Genesis, and all of that is true. All of it is true. But I think you'll be surprised at the end of the class how we actually see Genesis. But we need to know this stuff. This stuff is so important. So anyway, we'll come back to present day. What that is, obviously, is an idiom, right? This is the hieroglyphs from that time. So basically, just most people know this, but an idiom cannot be understood from the individual meanings of the elements. You know, it's raining cats and dogs, right? We can come up with plenty of idioms. We'll do that in a second. So, hold on, wait, I went the wrong way. So let's think of some examples and have some fun with idioms. Anybody have an idiom? Any idiot with an idiom is okay. I'm an idiot with a ton of idioms. Nobody wants to be an idiot?
Close but no cigar.
Close but no cigar, right? So imagine in the ancient world, they got close but no cigar. So the goal must have been to retrieve the cigar to win some game. And that must be an ancient game they played because you would get close. But if you won, you got this thing called a cigar. We have our team looking into it to see what a cigar is. Any other idioms?
Alligator mouth and hummingbird backside.
Oh, no. Okay. Nice challenge. Alligator back.
No, alligator mouth.
Alligator mouth.
And hummingbird backside.
And hummingbird backside.
Great big mouth, nothing to back it up.
Nice. Okay. So another way might be all bark, no bite.
All hat and no cattle.
All hat and no cattle. All of these you can imagine in the future if we see them, we go, what? Well, that must mean X, right? There's no alligator mouth and hummingbird back. What a weird animal. Do you think they were scared of that animal? Was it biting them? What is a hummingbird, right? Or is it like, anyway, it doesn't, you could see how this could extrapolate. And that's kind of what happens with some of these idioms. Any other idioms? It's fun. Anybody have anything?
No pain, no gain.
No pain, no gain. That's a good one. I like physical idioms, or not physical, but with not proper nouns. Come on, math or other people that are smarter. Thank you. Common nouns. There it is. I like idioms with common nouns, but that'll work. He bit the bullet, right? That's not good, right? But they might see that and be like, well, I guess you don't want to put this thing in your mouth or you might die instantly because their gods back then said, don't put it in your mouth or you'll die. I mean, it's filled with them. And a lot of times we've done that. So here's an idiom. Let's draw it back to the book of Genesis. Here's one that says, don't know the nakedness of. Now, some of you might know past that idiom. Some of you might not know it's an idiom. But what happened, and we can all talk about it because we're not getting in depth in it, but you have Noah. Noah's off the ark. Something happens. Ham sees him naked. He knew the nakedness of his father, and so tells his brothers. And his brothers do what? They back up with a cloth, right? And then they cover the nakedness of his father, right? And we go, okay, obviously you're not supposed to see your dad naked. And with your dad in the audience, it's a little weird, but you're not supposed to see your dad naked, at least in the Old Testament with this Yahweh God, because now your children will be cursed, right? Does that make sense? That's what we've been told, but it's wrong. To know the nakedness of means to engage in sexual congress with that person's spouse. Now let that sink in. So who did Ham sleep with if he knew the nakedness of his father? His mother. That's why his children were cursed. Now, the importance of idioms can't be understated. And once you see those and you go, wait, this book is a little different than what I thought, I'm asking for you to trust me because the rest of the ride is kind of the same. And we're going to get there. And there's going to be points you go, you can even do that. I don't care. In fact, I like it. If you think that's weird, you go, it's okay. It won't hurt my feelings. I promise you. I want to know you think it's weird because you're going to think I'm weird. And to quote Brother Austin, you think I'm weird? I think you're weird. Like, I understand this book. I think you're weird, right? So anyway, and a caveat also, I'll steal another thing of yours. I didn't go to seminary. So if you have deep theological questions or whatever, that's a very important thing to do and to go to. Our pastor would be willing to give you his opinion on it. And by the way, we share pretty much the same opinion on all of this. There's a couple little caveats, and I'll tell you where they're at, just to be completely open, because it doesn't bother me that he's wrong. But I'll tell you where they're at, right? He's going to come to my side, but we just have to give it time. So now that we can see kind of what an idiom, we'll skip all this, what an idiom can do to a Bible, let's take a break for a second. We're going to look at Gen Z slang. This is just kind of fun. I love this. So these are idioms not idioms, but these are the same things. These would be like prepositions in a sense happening now. So she high-key ate and left no crumbs. I stand. Now that's not, I can't spell, but there's no D there on purpose. It's I stand. This is common phrasing today. No, it's high key. She high key ate. So what do you have to know this? And this is kind of like ancient Hebrew to Hebrew, and then we hit kind of English in the 1400s and on that we can kind of deal with. So let's pretend that this is ancient Hebrew. I hope I don't get struck down for this. The Lord knows I have good intentions. Okay, so she high key. Let's start with high key. High key is the opposite, believe it or not, of low key, right? Which is a photography term, a key light, right? This is where it comes from. Do you have key grips? Little people that run around and do stuff. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what they do. And then you have key lights that are up there, and I don't know why they're called key lights, but they're called key lights. So if you are low key about something, it means you're kind of dim about it. You don't want to be seen. But if you're high key about something, it means, see, they agree. It means that it's high key. It's great. It's like them right now. Okay, so that is just to exclaim. Then we have ate and left no crumbs, which this kind of blew my mind. It does mean did a good job, right? Think about your kid eating their plate of food. If they leave no crumbs on that plate, like George, right? That's a good job, buddy. He ate and left no crumbs. What does that come from? Well, it's the 70s ballroom culture. They would say they ate. Like if they were on the dance floor and did well, oh, you really ate that up. And that started in the 70s, but it got added to in the late 2010s to no crumbs. So ate and left no crumbs gets combined from about 40 years together, 50 years together, or 40. And it gets combined. Math, I can't do it. It gets combined. And now you have ate and left no crumbs to the last one, I stand. Now this is my favorite. So in those others, you kind of have to know these different levels of things to understand really what that meaning is. You can't just start with ate and left no crumbs. Well, now the ancient Hebrew is somebody ate and they didn't leave anything on the plate. And I guess they just say weird words like stand, or they can't spell. Like you can't wrap your head around it. So, okay, let's go to I stand. Whew. Okay, anybody know here who Eminem is? Okay, we got a few. I'm one of them. It's from an Eminem song. He's a rapper. The song's title is Stan. And Stan, that's right, was obsessed with Eminem. So if you say, I stand, that means you're obsessed. You're obsessed. And that's modern vernacular. All those kids we heard scream would understand this. And we look at it and we go, including me. I had to ask Katie, you got to help me decipher this. What does that mean? But now we've had a lot, let me back up for a second. There have been a lot of good men that have taken these that have taken these translations. And I have to say this is the beauty of this book. I am not a King James reader. I love the King James. Brother Bradford back there is the man of the King James. Any verse, because I might need you, brother, for New Testament stuff, Matthew 24 is coming. He's going to tell it to you. He's going to recite it because it's in his heart. He's going to recite it, and it will be in the King James, and I love to listen to it. Here's the beauty of the King James. They made that with 4 manuscripts. Now today, we have thousands. and we have yet to make it better. In fact, all it does is confirm the miraculous work that they did with the King James. Now there are some small issues. There are very small issues, but it's miraculous what they did. And to me, you're watching the transfer of medium between audible stuff to stuff you can read almost to the masses. You're seeing that medium transfer take place for the masses. And media transfers rather, are big biblically. We're going to get to those. Actually, we're going to get to those tonight. We're going to get to those tonight. Okay. So, any questions so far? I know I haven't I know you're probably like, I don't know where he's going. I get that. Just kind of log this stuff in, right? And we'll go back and look at this and just kind of keep it in the gray matter. And as we go through these other points, you'll be able to kind of reference it and go, oh, okay, that's not that crazy, right? Ham apparently raped his mother. We're talking with something weird here. And if it's weird and interesting, I'm telling you right now, it's important. And we tend to push that aside and go, well, it's a mystery. We're not going to understand this text. And we have to admit we're looking at an ancient Eastern book with a modern Western eye. And that is a dangerous thing to not admit. So we have to strip away this modernity and go, wait, how would they have read it, right? So when they hear it's raining cats and dogs in their day, they go, hey man, it's pouring rain, don't go out. They don't panic and go, oh my gosh, carcasses will fall from the sky. I better get under a lot of rock, right? We sometimes get under a lot of rock. And I believe the Lord is going, hey, come out. It's okay. You can test this word. It's the truth. You can't hurt it. You will. It's too powerful. It's even too powerful for me to stand up here and lie about it. It's too powerful. You think I could hurt the word? Questioning it and going, wait a second, what's that meaning? Will not hurt it. And it's okay. That's why you knock. Hey, this is a question. What's the question? Can I come in? It's a question. So we're asking questions. I'm asking questions. You might not ask questions. You might think I'm crazy, but that's okay because I think you're crazy. So that was me. Sorry. All right. Oh, yeah. Okay, so here we go. I like this. Sorry. What is this? There we go. We're all pretty much in agreement. But, okay, what is it? Glass. Okay. What kind of glass?
Tempered glass?
Tempered. There we go. To 2 points to Katie in the first row. What else is it? What is this? Okay, a tool, numbers, what else? Measure of things, something. Say again. Pourer, holder, container. Say again. Vessel, absolutely. Vessel. Say again. Dirty spoon holder. Right. Poop smell container. Right? All of these things. No, that's true. Wrong. Don't kill my metaphor. But you're right. I would never use this as a measuring cup again. So what this is it is all of those things. It's every one of those things. Nobody here said a lie. Nobody here. They said a lot of facts about this. It is glass. It's Pyrex. It's tempered. It has ink on it. I said that one. It's a container. It's a vessel. It's a dirty spoon holder, which is much cleaner than what I was having to do. It's all of those things. All of those things are true. But when I asked, what is this? Everybody goes, a measuring cup, right? Like, yeah, we are going to look at the measuring cup. Everything else about it is probably true. Look, some of the most beautiful poetry ever written in the world. Actually, let me back up. The most beautiful poetry ever written in the world is contained in these books. The most beautiful writing styles. Look at the book of Revelation matching the book of the Gospel of John. Probably most people's favorite here, the Gospel of John. They match. It's like, I don't remember what it's called. I think of it like a hamburger where you got the bun, a double cheeseburger, the cheeseburger, the cheese, the cheeseburger, the bun, right? It reflects itself as you open it, right? There's a, say again? Chiasm. You missed that one. Did you know it? No, you failed. But chiasm, it's a chiasm. Those are beautiful things, not easy to do when you're writing before books. So imagine the worship involved. So all of that is true. And what happens is we focus on this one thing, go, no, that's only poetry. Yeah, it is poetry. It's also a measuring cup. Don't forget the measuring cup. So this class is about the measuring cup. We're still going to talk about the poetry, sort of. Okay. So let's look at, hold on, let me see what order we're going to do this. Yes. Okay, so in this book of Genesis, there are several theories about who wrote it. So that's what I meant to say. What's a fair question to ask? Who wrote the book? That's the fair question to ask. So who wrote the book? Well, there are theories about it, and they're all theories, and they're really good theories. You have the Mosaic theory. That's obviously Moses Moses wrote the book through visions. That's the common theory, just through seminary. The common theory is that because the scribes pre-Maccabean era said, hey, our tradition is that Moses had visions and wrote this whole book. Here you go, Christians. That's not really what happened. But we adopted that because that's what the scribal leaders believed in the Maccabean period, right? And you think, wow, they got to be right. I mean, they're holding the book for us, right? They have to be right. Okay. I mean, it's not like the Hebrews were ever wrong. Okay. Then you have things like the JEDP, which is like a scholarly opinion, which the Mosaic is too. What that basically is you have, hold on, I'll do this. M for Mosaic. Is that mine? Sorry. No, that's all right. Oh, no, you got time. Don't worry about it. I got to write this down anyway. JEDP. Then you have the JEDP, right? And the Mosaic says that Moses and scribes, and he had help, of course, wrote the book when they were in the 40 years of exile, right? It was all written then at that time period. JEDP says, okay, yes, this is true and this is true. Some of this is true, but we really have four big writers in the whole of the Torah. Moses is one of them. They would call priests, and this is also in the Mosaic. Priests wrote it, and that kind of carries over. But really their thing is they got the big four. And they say the big four is delineated when you read the text because it says Jehovah, or it'll say Yahweh or Lord or Lord God, right? When you read, you go, oh, that says Lord. Then you go to the next paragraph, it says Lord God. Like, what is that about? Well, that's them saying, well, it's two different writers. Okay, sure. So, that's the JEDP, and they separate that by the Jehovah, the Elohimic, the Deuteronomical, and the priestly. And they say that those four sections kind of put it together. But there's another one. And this other one is a tablet or a Toledot theory. Now, this is not taught in churches. It's not even taught in seminary. Seminary. I got to do the joke right, or it doesn't stick. Now, the Toledot theory says that it was written on these tablets, most likely clay. It would have been clay. It wasn't an iPad. And those clay tablets were then passed down until they get to Moses. Moses compiles them. Compiles tablets, right? With the help of scribes and priests. And they all put together the tablets that they have with the lineage that they gather, with what the Lord tells Moses to write. And and the law, 613 of them, you got the 10 commandments, all that stuff. And that's all packed into the Torah, and that would be the Toledot theory. But the main part of the theory is the first half of Genesis are tablets. And you go, okay, that's interesting. I'll probably stick with Moses, and that's okay. You can stick with Moses. But I do want you to at least kind of visualize this in a sense of not the modern Western world. So let's do it. Well, let me show this first. Okay. So why do I believe that? And a few others. This comes from J.P. Weissman in the 1920s. There's some other people before him that kind of found this. So it's not like Walter Breithaupt one day opened up the Bible and this big light shone down and I was like, oh, I figured it out. No, wise men came before me and they just read it. And they were like, I think this is the truth. And what happened was they had scholarly work from the area. We're starting to understand tablets in the Assyrian era, the Babylonian era, the Persian era, and they're combining this going, wait a second. Sumerian, of course, Sumerian, more so. They're combining this and go, wait, it would have been the same. And we think that Genesis, in fact, some people in the Mosaic theory and the JDP will go back and say Moses copied what the Sumerian tablets did. Now, probably nobody here believes that, but you might. If you do, you're wrong. He didn't. They copied what the truth was, which is what was given to Moses. Okay, or not to Moses, but the tablets back then. Okay. Yes, thank you. Good word. They believe it was a polemic. And a polemic would be like a copy of, we're doing the same thing. A response to, like, you believe there's a flood? Well, okay. Yahweh, our God, he did a flood too. And it was a better flood. It doesn't work like that. The polemic's the other way. They saw that and they said, well, just like everything is a type and a cast, the evil side saw the good guys and they made a poor copy of what the good guys did, which, by the way, is the theme throughout this book. So anyway, that's what happened. So how do we know that they're tablets? So funny word, colophon. I had to call my mother to make sure I pronounced it right because I've read it for years but never said it out loud. This right here is an example of the colophon. And a colophon, you don't have to read any of that. A colophon is basically the signature at the end that says, hey, this is me, this is about me. And that's it. Like, this is my history, if it's history. These are my sales. This is my promise. This is my covenant I made with so-and-so. Okay, we still do that today. Nothing has changed. We still, now today, if you look up colophon, there are two definitions. One of them will be, has to do with an official not copyright, but publishing. It's like a publishing mark. It's gone to a publishing mark. But, call me crazy, the tablets were kind of published back then, right? So it still works. But we still use that stuff today. And this means nothing. That's pulled off of Google. So if you're trying to read it, you're wasting your own time. I don't know what it says. Probably something bad, so I'm going to get rid of it. Anyway, that's where we're at. So we know what colophons are. We know we're going to look at the Toledot or the tablet theory. We know that in that area at the time, there's an entire library filled with thousands of Toledots. And I think it's like 80%, I'm not sure, it's 70 to 80% have colophons. Now that's amazing. Across all of these civilizations, thousands of documents or tablets, and they all share the same thing, which is a colophon. Like, that really is amazing. I mean, you think, well, the ancient world was tiny and everybody knew everybody. No. It wasn't. We'll get to that too. Okay, so we're going to do a little experiment. I hope people brought their Bibles. If not, I've got one I can share. But we're going to look up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 verses. Don't panic. Nobody has to read more than one sentence, maybe two max. Does that make sense? Everybody okay with this? I'm not going to read them all. All right, there I see one Bible out. Okay, here's a couple. So somebody raise your hand and look up Genesis 2:4. There we go, right back there. Genesis 5:1. And put your finger in it. We'll read it in a second. 5:1, I got it. Do I hear a Genesis 6:9? 6:9. Here Genesis, there's a 6:9. Do I hear Genesis 10:1? Going once, going twice. 10:1. Somebody get 10. There's 10:1. 11:10. Got 11:10. 11:27. Let me get right there. 11:27. 25:12. 25:12. That'll work. Thank you, ma'am. 25:12. 25:19. Anybody want to take 25:19? 36:1. It's a tricky one. And 9. 1 and 9. Who got what?
Who's doing 25, 19?
I don't know, but do it just in case. Okay, and then 36:1 and 9. You got the tricky one. 37:2. And just put your finger at it because we're going to read them all in a second. And it's 37:2. Genesis 37:2. Now, I don't remember how many chapters are in the book. It's just like 50? 50. Okay, so we're not all the way through the book. We're not going to go all the way through the book because the tablets don't go all the way through the book. Okay, whoever had the first one, Genesis 2:4, can you read it out loud, please?
This is the account of the heavens and the earth when they were created in that day that the Lord God made earth and heaven.
Perfect. Somebody read. Okay, wait. It said, these are the generations of the heavens and the earth in the day that the Lord God made. Okay, somebody read 5:1.
This is the document containing the family.
No, you got a terrible translation. Keep going. It's all right. You're good. Bad
You
translation.
want me to get a different translation?
No, you're good, brother. Go.
This is the document containing the family records of Adam. On the day that God created man, he made him in the likeness of God.
Perfect. Now, quick question. What's the next sentence?
He created them male and female. Well, it's not gonna happen. It says after a semicolon.
Oh, I got you. We'll come back to it.
Keep going.
No, we'll come back to it. Somebody read 6:9. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
6:9. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God.
Perfect. 10:1.
This is the account of the families of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, the 3 sons of Noah. Many children were born to them after the great flood.
Perfect. You're starting to see a pattern, right? These are the generations of. These are the documents of. These are the accounts of, right? But there's a problem. Every time it says that, watch this. Everybody watch it? This is cool. Thanks to Mr. Austin Bradford. Every time it says the generations, okay. I do. Of. There's text above it and text below it. If it says these are the generations of Noah, everything above that, written by Noah. Everything. Until you get to the next, these are the generations of. The generations of, it's also a Sumerian way to say history. Noah was perfect in his generations is a great example because it's saying he was perfect back to Adam. Oh, say you brag and that happens. He was perfect back to Adam. He walked with God. His history, his generations were perfect. It's not what's coming next is perfect. I mean, if that's the case, we got a lot of problem in the rest of the book if everything that comes after Noah is perfect. In the generations of is an idiom. And that idiom is, this is the history of. Does this make sense? Okay, so moving on. We had Genesis 25:12. Anybody? 25:12? I'll pull to it. It's all right.
Oh, I got it.
Go for it.
This is 25:12.
Yes, ma'am.
This is the account of the family of Ishmael, the son of Abraham, through Hagar, Sarah's Egyptian servant.
Perfect. You're good. You can stop there. 25:19. So we got Ishmael. Who else we got? Right after it.
And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son.
You're good. You can stop there. We'll get to the rest of it later. But Isaac, we got 36:1 and 9. Who's got that?
No, this is the genealogy of Esau.
There we go. We're good. We got Esau. Thank you so much. I don't mean to cut you off. And last one, 37:2. Going once, going twice. I'll look it up. It's all right. It's a lot to look up.
These are the generations of Jacob, Joseph, being 17 years old.
Perfect. So we got Jacob. So here we go. We have, I'll get to why it's Yahweh in a minute. Adam, Noah, his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Shem. By the way, Shem, Ham, and Japheth are combined in one Toledot. I'll tell you why I think that is in a minute. Then you have Shem's Toledot. Then you have Terah's, Ishmael's. Let that sink in. We have Ishmael's Toledot. In fact, to my knowledge, there's a religion on the other side of the world that's creeping its way in here that claim their roots back to Ishmael. Yeah. But we have his Toledot. Not them. That's ours. Isaac, Esau, and Jacob. Why did it stop at Jacob? You think, okay, Walt's being weird. This doesn't make sense. It's probably the things after it. It's not. Go home and read them, and that's the homework assignment. Read after it, and you'll be like, wait a second. He's right. If I want to learn about Noah, I read what's above it. This is about his kids. And then it's signed Shem, Ham, and Japheth. You go, well, what is that about? Makes no sense. And also, hardly any of them coincide with chapter starters. And the people that made chapters and numbers, look, wise men, I think it's a wonderful thing. I think it has its hindrances. I think it's good. But sometimes God's perfect, the enemy of God's perfect is your good plan. Does that make sense? So I think we can pull good out of it. By the way, that's from the pastor. I didn't write that. I didn't come up with that. I think we can get good out of it, but don't mistake the fact that it's good for being perfect. That's done by man. And we missed the ball at the start of this, in the start of the book of Genesis, at least. Okay, so your homework assignment, kind of, if you get time, you don't have to read. You don't even have to read the book. You just go, what is that talking about? Kind of skim it, because it's 20-something, 27, 30, 37 chapters. Just go through them, and I'll put a list up here. You can take them with you or take a picture of. Just go through them and look. So, okay, but then we go, okay, that kind of makes sense, but it doesn't really. It's not jiving with me. How much time do I have? I can do it. It's not jiving with me that all of these tablets are floating around and somehow Moses gets them, because Moses is still in the distance to me. I don't quite understand how he gets back to Adam, right? There is a world that is perfect, and then we go into a world that is broken, and you have this line, you have good world and broken. And those tablets, if you follow me on this, are in the good world. This is a tablet if you can't tell. And written in the broken world. Right? It crosses the line. And I think that's really important that it crosses the line. That's a very interesting thing to me. That's one of the reasons I think it's copied. It's the copy of it to mimic. What is that? The word you used earlier. Polemic, thank you. It's the polemic, right? I think that polemic has a lot to do with that. But either way, we'll talk about that too. We're getting there. Just follow me for a minute. Okay. So how do we connect the broken or the unbroken to the broken? And why do I think Moses gathered them all together? Okay, I want to show you this. I'm marking this section out. It says boring because this is really boring. But when you're looking through those things, if you'll go to the tablet with the account of the flood of Noah and Shem, Ham, and Japheth, it's just too lengthy to do it here. And read it. It's 2 paragraphs. It combines 3 stories in 2 paragraphs. That's weird. And then the next section is one of those stories extrapolated. So the first 3 are Shem, Ham, and Japheth's Toledot. Kind of weird. And then you have Shem's Toledot. Kind of weird. Right? It's like 4 accounts right there. Nobody will ever talk about it in a church, except now. But there are 4 Toledots there. And or not 4 Toledots, there are 2 Toledots there, 4 stories. And that's important. And here's why. In the Toledot for the heavens and the earth, the first one that accounts everything on page 1 of the Bible. Page 1 of the Bible is the 7 days. Page 2 of the Bible is the Garden of Eden. Because most people here understand, you have the account of the 7 days first, then you have the Garden of Eden in chapter 2. It's not chronological, right? Also weird. It's not chronological because page 1 of the Bible is Yahweh's account of what happened. Page 2 of the Bible is Adam's account of what happened. And it actually looks at it from Adam's point of view. When you read it, you go, oh yeah, I could see somebody writing that, you know. Okay, so you have these nomadic tribes, and they were nomadic, post-broken. But you end up with these tablets that I believe Yahweh showed them how to write, or showed Adam how to write, which we'll get back to that. He showed Adam how to write it. We have these tablets that start piling up, and you're moving around with Ma and Pa, and you got the kids and the goats, and all of a sudden your wife's going, and don't forget the tablets. And now you're going back, and you're like, oh my God, I got to get all these tablets. Where am I going to put them? You end up with a lot of tablets, and they're big. And so somebody one day just goes, hey, look, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, kind of the same story. I think we're just going to kind of squish them together, right? We'll make a quick account, right? We're gonna lessen our load a little. We might not have all the tablets that were written, right? But here's how we got them. So you got these nomadic tribes moving around you go from ancient Hebrew into Hebrew, not into Hebrew yet, but towards the Israelite time frame. They're going to Egypt. When they go to Egypt, who goes to Egypt? Somebody shout it out. It's not a test. Anybody? Give you options: Jacob, Joseph, Jehoshaphat.
Nope.
There we go, Joseph. So Joseph goes to Egypt, knocks on the door. Can I come in? Can my people come and rest? Can we Noah here? And they say, okay. And then he becomes pretty powerful to the point where, and I want to read this because I like this. So Joseph remained in Egypt, he and his father's house. Joseph lived 110 years, and Joseph saw Ephraim's children of the third. Okay, the children also, blah, 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 I'm skipping forward. And Joseph said to his brothers there, okay, then Joseph made sons of Israel sweet, saying, God will surely visit you, okay, blah, blah, blah. So Joah died, being 110 years old. They embalmed him, and he was put in a coffin in Egypt. Who embalmed him? Not the Hebrews. The Egyptians embalmed him. They put him in a coffin. Another way to look at that is a style of a king or a pharaoh's burial. What did they put with kings and pharaohs when they buried him? Their belongings. He's down in Egypt with the tablets. He dies, and they bury him with him as a respect to him. Because remember, the ruler that came in Egypt, who I think was a Syrian, but the ruler that came knew Joseph not. Right before when Moses is going to get the people and let my people go, right? The guy that Charleston Heston is talking to didn't know Joseph. He forgot him. And by the way, the didn't know is almost an idiom. It's basically to not give homage to not care about, to push away. In other words, to throw asunder. Like, I don't care, right? Which is interesting because that throw asunder and I don't care is exactly how you harden your heart. His heart was also hardened, right? So either way, they didn't know Joseph. He didn't know Joseph. Joseph gets buried. He's got all his stuff with him because they did know Joseph and they respected him and they wanted him to have what the Egyptians would have, and that's everything they could give him because they respect him. He gets the Toledotes. Moses goes, let my people go. We'll get into that, arguments. A couple things happen. They're getting out of there with some gold. What else did they take? Joseph's bones. Yahweh said, get his bones. That's a weird thing. In fact, we're not a worship bone culture or religion. We're not. We don't do weird things with bones and shake them. And that's not us. That's not Yahweh. We are two parts. We are spirit and we are flesh. And we put aside the flesh when we die and we become spirit. But Yahweh goes, no, get the bones. And they open it up, and you got Toledotes. And Moses goes, Moses goes, what does that say? What is that about? We better take that with us. Now, maybe God told him to take him with him, and maybe he could read it. Maybe. I don't know he could. Can't prove it either way. Maybe you can see the revelation in the Bible that'll tell you, and you can tell all of us. I mean it. I really mean that. Look at it. Maybe you'll see it. I don't see it. We don't know, so I'm guessing he couldn't read it. So they get the bones. Obviously, the tablets, they go out. What's the first place they're going to stop after 90 days? Mount, everybody say it together, Sinai, right? Which is crazy God mountain. Okay. What do they make while he's on top of Mount Sinai? The golden, right? They make the calf. They weren't sure who they were. They didn't know how to communicate with Yahweh. They make an idol, right? That's like number 2 or something in the 10 Commandments. I can't remember the order. But either way, they do basically all the wrong things at once, right? And Moses comes back. They don't know who they are, right? They're new to this Yahweh thing. Remember, we, including Moses, wherever he is, we'll pretend he's up there, doesn't know his name. He doesn't know the name of the God that's saying, I'm your God. He goes, who? Actually, he really does. He goes, think about it. It says that he's walking past the bush. Like, that's a burning bush, not a big deal. Like, he has to be called back. Same thing, by the way, the disciples had to do with Christ on the water. Christ was just passing them. And they said, no, come here. Crazy ghost creature on the water that might be the Jesus we know, please come here to our boat, right? Moses is walking past the burning bush. It's like, hey, why don't you find this weird? Now think about that. Why didn't Moses find a bush that couldn't be consumed not weird? Call me crazy if we left here right now and you're walking to your car and there's a self-consuming contained fire down here at the corner like a video game. You're just going to walk past it? No, you'll probably panic. But Moses didn't panic. In fact, he didn't give it any mind. Why? Because it wasn't the only miraculous thing happening. There were other things happening that were also miraculous that were not from Yahweh. He went to the mountain at this time to get answers and to hide. There's a lot of things he went there for. But to commune, basically, like anybody else does to a mountain, to commune with the gods. And this bush goes, hey, let me tell you who I am. He goes, I don't know you. I can't lead those people out, right? You know the story. And he goes, first of all, take off your shoes. So it must not have been common to take off your shoes in front of these Elohimic, and I'm using that word, we'll get to that word, but Elohimic beings. You didn't take your shoes off, and he just went, okay, wow, we're getting serious, right? He kicks off his Jerusalem cruisers, walks in there, and starts to commune with the face of God, right? Okay, so that Moses is the same Moses whose face glows. I mean, modern Western world, ancient text. His face would glow, not an idiom. Radioactive, maybe, I don't know. I mean that, I don't know. Face. The same thing happened to crossing the river, Joseph, Joshua, thank you. Jay, I'm terrible at J's. Makes it hard to teach Genesis when you mix up all the J names. Jesus, I know. More ways than one. So anyway, so you have Moses, this guy, I'm trying to describe this guy. He ends up showing them, he goes up to the Mount Sinai. Actually, everybody's invited to this giant fire on the mountain, and everybody panics like, oh, no, you go instead, Moses. And he's like, all right, like, you don't understand, this is a test. The closer you get, the cooler it is. I promise you, don't panic. Like, nah, you go ahead. We're going to hang out here. I think Yahweh would have taught all of them. I think he would have taught all of them. And he needed judges later because this happened. You know, I think. It's my opinion. But he goes up there, communes with the Lord a couple times for a while. I think God taught him like he taught Adam how to write. Now, you can call it Sumerian, you can call it ancient Hebrew. I don't know which one it was, but it was one of them. The Hebrew we read today is not ancient Hebrew. I say read, I don't read it. But he taught him with his finger. Because all through this book, every time Yahweh writes something on a wall, in the sand, it's with his finger. What do you write in a tablet with if you don't have anything else? Your finger. And then you burn it or you fire it by the fire to harden it. He used his finger. He teaches Moses, hey, this is who you are. These tablets contain who you are. Go tell your people, we're bringing back Eden. And we're going to go take that land, and I'll show you where it's at. All you got to do is do what I say. Yes, sir.
How long was it between Joseph's death and then Moses?
300. They were in Egypt for 340-ish years. It's around there. It might be 48. It could be 70, 370. It's sub 400, post 320, somewhere in there.
And then it just dawned on me that the tablets were like soft clay, and then they hardened them.
Correct?
I thought they were chiseling them out.
No. They were made soft and then fired.
I was thinking this is ridiculous.
That's okay. I want you to think it's ridiculous. It's okay. I get it. I've been there.
That's what we've seen on TV.
That's what you've seen on TV. Because we have a what? A modern Western eye. So we see granite. Tick, 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 right? No. He writes it with his finger. That's why this book tells us he uses his finger. That's why. If God's going to write something to you, you better watch out, because it's a finger. I mean that. If you go home and you see a finger writing on the wall, you better hit your face. Like, I don't know, be not afraid, right? Good luck. I would be terrified. Like, I'd praise him for it, but I would probably need to take a shower. You know what I'm saying? So, either way, Moses learns this. But where did they just leave? This is what I love. They just left Egypt. What was Egypt known for, especially in that time period? This is kind of it's not a tough question, but you're probably not thinking about it. Yes, they are known for multi-theism, and we get back to that in the next class. Yes, absolutely. Say again? Chariots, sure, chariots, absolutely. Hieroglyphics, papyrus. They're known for papyrus. They're the center of the world of paper. They had a monopoly on it, actually, because of their climate. And Moses just left the place Yahweh sent him to with the knowledge as a prime Egyptian about paper. And now he's back to lugging these tablets, going, hey, look, somebody put that in my tent. Come on, let's hurry. We got to leave. There's a storm coming. The fiery cloud is moving. Pick up the tablets. We got to go again. And he goes, you know what? Forget this. Bring me some of that papyrus. And Moses starts to compile what was hanging here. He starts to compile it. And he goes, here's the first tablet. Here's the second tablet. I think he even added his own thoughts on occasions, like Genesis 6, when the sons of God saw the daughters of men were good and took them for their wives, and those were the giants in those days. Those were the giants in those days. And also afterward is a form of phrasing used in authorship where it's inserted by somebody. It's a scribal insert. It also happens in the book of John. For God so loved the world, he gave his only. Jesus didn't say that. It's the writer going, remember this, right? It's the same thing. Moses going, hey, and the giants after. Don't forget that. We got more than just these weird beings. They also show up in my time and after. So you have like little snippets in there. Maybe he looked at all the tablets from Sam, Ham, and Japheth, but this is silly. These guys just copied each other's work. We don't have a lot of papyrus today. We're making more. I don't know. We're going to combine. Who knows? It really could be all that. Okay, what time is it? Oh, all right. I'm gonna close with this. I almost made it. So let that sink in. I know it's really weird stuff. I get that. You're going, this guy's crazy. That's okay, because I also think you're crazy. It's going to work out well. We're going to continue the story. At the end, it's going to have a button on it, and hopefully you go, oh, this kind of makes sense now of where he's coming from. Or it might not, and you might think I'm crazy. Anyway, but here's my point. We're learning about the clay to learn who the potter is. It's not important if you think it's the J. Ryder, EDP, if it's Mosaic. I kind of think it's important, but it's not the end of the world if we disagree with how that part of the book got to us. It's okay. I'm going to see you in heaven. We might laugh about it. You know, I guess you were right, Walt. I'll probably hear that a lot. That's okay. Don't be ashamed to come up and tell me that. We'll form a line, right? I'm sure things will be orderly, but My point is that it's not about the creation of it and how it was put together. It's the inspiration that matters. And all of this is inspired by Yahweh. No matter which belief you get to, it's the inspiration that matters. Why? Because we're trying to learn about the pottery that the potter made. He also made this. He formed it. That's his word that came out of his mouth. Or that was, sorry, if Yahweh speaks, the word is Christ. The breath that comes out with the word is the Holy Spirit. All of that happened. We're learning about the creator of the universe. I'm sorry, but I don't want to insult the creator of the universe to say, well, I don't think we all came from Adam. Like, I believe that you did this miraculous thing and you walked the earth and as part man, part God, and you died and rose. I believe that in my head, but it's tough for me to get in my heart because these first pages, I think, are an allegory. What an insult. I'm being honest. What an insult to the Creator. Now, it doesn't mean that other things aren't true, right? I don't believe in evolution, but adaptation is real. Sexual mutation is real. All of those things are facts. But what it really is a measuring cup. We're looking at the measuring cup. And inside the measuring cup, we're given Christ. That worked. I just made it up on the spot, right? And we get to I can't go any further with that metaphor, but that's what we get. That's what came in the measuring cup, is Christ. All of this was done by Christ. It's the words that were spoken. All of it he answered. Everything in this book that we've already talked about, he did in a typecast almost backwards. And it's fascinating. It's the most beautiful piece of history that can ever be made. And I'm scared to insult it. So, we'll stop there for today. Any questions before we go? Anybody think I'm nuts? It's okay. Yes. You think I've got you?
We all think you're nuts.
Yes, good. That's okay. I also think you're crazy for not believing. Either way, but I mean it. Any questions, think about them. Please go back and look. Next week, I'll supply the numbers. Or if you want to take a picture, hold on. This will work. On your way out, if you want to take a picture, right down here are all the colophons. Thank you. Right down here are all the colophons. I'll set it back here. Just grab a picture with your phone. You can look them up. And then you can also see my notes and see how truly crazy I am. And, okay, any other questions? We got to get out of here because Pastor Heath's going to be mad. He was like, make sure you end on time. So, nothing else?